Welcome at Love Tomorrow, everybody. A good afternoon. My name is Jeroen Delodder. I am your host here at the Crystal Garden on the grounds of Tomorrowland. We have two beautiful and much promising talks scheduled for you this afternoon. First, we're going to talk with Rune Kölsch about the emotional power of music. And then after a short break, we are welcoming Sadhguru and Alok to talk about the power of the brain, possible mental health issues and how to address those. Can everybody understand us very well? Is the volume right? Is everything okay? I see a lot of thumbs up.
Super.
Super. I hope you'll be having a very inspiring afternoon. And let's welcome Rune Kölsch.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Awesome.
Hello, Rune.
Hello.
Just gonna mention it because some of the people don't know. Rune Kölsch, it's his real name. So if you say Kölsch, it's the real name, it's not the artist name. And let's start with a bit of music. The current single called Waste My Time.
Waste my time, but I could waste my time for you. I don't wanna waste my time.
Music is probably the most universal language. It connects people across religions, countries, cultures, and beliefs. And when it comes to emotions in music, Rune, you are by far one of the most relevant DJs and producers to talk to. Let's start with your latest album, I Talk to Water, a deeply personal one because you have used recordings of your late father, who was a singer and musician himself. A track that we hear now has your father's voice and guitar in it.
Won't you tell me where I'm going? And what's track gonna get you? I just watch those rivers flow, or a bridge that burns for you.
Rune, what brought you to using your late father's voice and guitar play in your music?
So my father passed away in 2003 from a brain tumor, and there's no question that he has had the most impactful influence on my life when it comes to music in general. Him, in his weird and wonderful ways, scared me away from guitars and singing because he drove me completely crazy. I would like to add to the talk that my father was a devout Buddhist. I'm brought up as a Buddhist, and therefore there was also this spiritual and religion element to music. The connection was already there from a very early age. But what happened is after he passed away, he sadly never saw any of the success that I've had with music since he passed away just before. But I couldn't listen to the music that he'd made for many, many years. And it took me 20 years, I think, to be able to hear his voice without tearing up and it touching him too much. It was simply too hard, too much to bear somehow, because that was him, that was the embodiment of him. You might forget, I forget his face sometimes, but I never forget his voice. It's so imprinted in me as a human being. And during COVID, I gathered up the strength and the courage to go through all the things that he'd made back then. What had happened is that just before his passing, he had gotten a computer and he would call me 10 times a day. My father was Irish, by the way, so here it goes. He'd go, "Rune, if I was to export the sound from this byte to the other, would I then have to insert the disk into the disk drive?" And I'd go, "Please read the manual, Dad. please, I can help you. But he recorded some stuff, and this was one of the songs that he wrote and recorded, and I found it on a lonely mini disc sitting in the corner of some of his stuff, and it was just such a beautiful song, and I wanted to bring it back to life. I love the idea of having something so precious, obviously precious to me. It's a very personal story, and releasing it so many years after. I loved the fact that I could bring his music to life, because he never had that back then. He had a band and they were playing shows, but he chose his family over the musical career. He worked with drug addicts for many, many years, in the sense that they would do detox, and they were very much anti any help. So they would just drive into the woods and do survival tours without anything. The cold turkey way, if you say. He dedicated 25 years of his life to that. And in a way, I felt he had sacrificed his dreams and ambitions to help other people. And I wanted to give him that back in a little way. So this was the time for me to let him shine on this record that I did last year.
You said you were not able to listen to it for many years. Then during COVID, you made that switch. How is it to be on your own in a studio producing music using your father's recordings? Did it feel intimate? Did it feel weird? Did it bring you closer to him?
All of what you said. It was very scary. It was very intimate. It was extremely emotional, and but also I felt it was something that I had to go through. So it was a very personal journey, just digging through what he had recorded. And mind you, there was also a lot of terrible stuff, which I decided not to put on the record, as goes with anything, of course. But it was a really, really healthy experience.
The album is called I Talk to Water, and be on the lookout, because after summer there's a new album of you coming.
New album.
And you always put a lot of emotions in your music. People who are familiar with it, they can testify. So on the moment that you create it on your own, it's very close and personal. But you once said, as soon as the music is released, it no longer belongs to you. It becomes somebody else's music. Can you explain that?
I've got two very classic examples. I'll start with the silliest one, because that's a funny one. I don't know if you guys ever saw this famous YouTube clip about a woman calling a radio station in South America asking for the Reebok and the Nike song. It's a classic. Basically, she wants to hear Rhythm of the Night, but she doesn't know what it is, so she says, I'm asking for the Reebok and the Night song. And what I mean by that is the fact that everybody experiences music in a completely different way. As soon as it's released, the intention that I had with what I was creating are irrelevant. They don't matter anymore, because 97% of people will never know what the thought was behind the song. And that's also the beauty of music. I think it's important to let music mean something to other people. We've all had the experience we're on holiday or wherever, we have these deep connections with people that we love over a piece of music. I've personally always had it in Ibiza when I was driving around in my younger years, listening to a particular record over and over again, and it got imprinted with that memory. And that memory is not connected to me or to any musician. It is a deeply personal experience between people, something that happens where the music becomes the background. It becomes more of a symbolic part of it. And that's what I mean by that. As soon as it's out of my hands, as soon as I've created something, it is gone. It doesn't belong to me.
When you're talking about having tracks, when we talk about music and tracks having different meanings to people, that brings us to this tune, maybe one of your most known tunes, All That Matters.
There are things out there that I can't explain. There's not enough time to show you what it all means. So you need to get out there on your own. Make your own mind up and let your soul go. All that matters is right here in your head. All I care about is that you're alright.
One of the most iconic tracks you ever did with Truls Abrahamsson on lyrics and vocals. I have friends who had this at their wedding, but I also know people who played it at a funeral. What is for you the emotional story behind this song, and what does it mean to you?
It was a great experience for me to actually be part of this piece of music, because I didn't write the song, Trolls wrote the song. And for the longest time, I didn't know what he meant with the words. And I think this was 5-6 years ago. He actually explained to me that the song was written for his kids, you know, for them to have something to hold on to and just some life advice, simple life advice, if you will. And I thought that was absolutely beautiful, because for a lot of people it has a completely different meaning. As you mentioned, it could be a funeral situation, it could be a wedding situation. And it's just a testament to that things are up for interpretation, and it doesn't have to be the original intention of the song that defines what it becomes and what it is. Great situation. Last week when I was here, Trolls, by the way, is performing Saturday with the Symphony of Love, right? And that's good. By the way, you should definitely go check that. It's an incredible show. But he's singing the song live there, and I met him in the lobby of the hotel on Saturday morning. Very glamorous place to meet. But the thing is, he was there with his son, who had written the song for. And he brought his son to this performance here to see him perform the song that he'd written for him. And this coming week, his daughter is coming to see it. And I thought that was such a beautiful full circle moment. It made me really happy that they were able to share that with each other. I wish I could have been there for that. That would have been something.
I mentioned the wedding, I mentioned the funeral. I'm sure you're having conversations with fans of yours in real life or online. Can you recall other meanings that the song has brought to those people?
I think in general, the reaction I get is that it helps people through hard times in whatever capacity that might be. It's one of those things that is so deeply personal for people. And I have people coming up to me and asking me or crediting me for helping them, which I have not at all. They have helped themselves, and they've had this in the background and read something into this. It leads into a bigger conversation about where art intentions and where it stops and where it begins. I think another example that I like to bring up in this situation is that a lot of people will send me demos and they will ask me for advice for a piece of music and what to do with it and how to create it and how to make it. And a while back I decided I would stop giving constructive feedback to them, because the thing is, as soon as you as an artist or as a person interrupt an artistic journey for someone, a personal development with your ideas and intentions, you're somehow injecting your meaning into their work, which is not fair at all. You're actually interrupting something that should be their personal expression. And then it becomes a weird mishmash or something, and that's not fair. So at any given moment, I'm happy to give technical advice on how to mix things, which is just upper nerdery, which is fine, or how to release it, or all the business advice. I'm super happy for that, but I don't want to interrupt people's personal artistic expression or journey anymore. And the same goes for people listening to music. I think it's important sometimes, in this case particular, maybe I would have been more happy if I didn't know that the song was for Trolls' kids, because then I could read all this into it. It could be something for me as well. It could be something that I could put in a situation. That would have been a great experience to have as well. But I didn't get that luxury in this time.
That's for another tune.
That's for another tune.
We have talked and listened to some of your own music, and we dug a bit into the emotional aspects of those. But Kölsch, I would also like to know what kind of music you listen to when you are maybe feeling low or emotionally off balance. I presume it's not your own music.
Oh no, I can't stand my own music. That's not true. But anyways, usually no. No, I'm obsessed with many things. I have a deep affiliation for a lot of neoclassical composers. I love ambient music. These days, I have a big obsession with dub techno, which is a blend of very soft. It comes from the dub versions of reggae music blended with techno music. It's just extremely nice to listen to. But I guess my favorite artist, or favorite group, if you will, would be Bon Iver. I'm obsessed with Bon Iver and have been for the last 15 years. It speaks to me in incredible ways, and it has become sort of a thing I can lean on in weak moments. I've had very many fragile moments on flights coming home from long weekends, and I've been emotionally drained and just not had the energy to even look at anybody anymore. And I could isolate myself with a pair of headphones and listen to, in this case, there's one particular track that really spoke to me called Restacks by Bon Iver. And there I've had the luxury of not knowing what it's about, and I still don't know. And I don't want to know.
Let's not reveal.
I have no clue.
And let's listen to it. This is a song chosen by Kölsch. Bon Iver, Restacks.
This my exclamation to day is cool. Everything that happens is from now on. This is boring. This is paradise.
It's very warm, comforting music. Would it also work for you if you feel blue, let's say, to go for a very happy, energetic music to like lift you up from where you are?
I don't think I work that way. I wish though. Would be cool if I could put on the Grease mega mix and get myself going with that. No, I don't have that in me, sorry.
I'd like to reveal something now that you once told me in one of our previous conversations. And I think it might come as quite a surprise to a lot of people here. Because when you DJ Kölsch, sometimes you pick and play a track to dedicate it to somebody who's maybe not there and then on the dance floor, but somebody who's in your heart and who gets this, let's call it a silent dedication by you as a DJ without anybody else knowing it. So can you share more about that ritual and why you do it and the reason you do it?
I believe very strongly in an emotional implant in music, and it can come from the creator of the music, but also the performer of the music, in whichever context that is. It can be a musician playing an instrument. It can be also, weirdly enough, I feel a DJ can do the same. You've probably all had the experience, you hear a DJ play the same record, but in the context of the record being played, it feels different. It means something else. And I believe that it is the emotional intention behind the record being played that defines what that emotion is. It's not necessarily a spoken thing. Again, it can, similar to the situation of a song that you share with a friend, something that it creates a new meaning for it, becomes holy in some sort. And that intention with performing music or playing with music, sharing it with friends, sharing it with the audience, I think it's the same thing. You're sharing something that you think is the most beautiful thing ever created, and you want people to experience that with you. I've had many people leave us way too early in my life that have been big mentors for me, friends that have introduced me to beautiful pieces of music that I have associated with them. A very close friend would always listen to Acid Eiffel by Laurent Garnier. So for many years I would play that in my sets. But it's not really important which record it is. It's more about transmitting these emotions, transmitting something to the audience, and also introducing something in a set that has a different impact to it. And I'm 100% sure that people can feel this. I just know it because I can feel it when I go and hear an artist perform. There is something there that is beyond anything that we can describe. It is beyond words. It is beyond something as simple as lyrics or singing or anything like that. And that's the beauty of electronic music to me, the way that you can transmit something so pure and precious through something as simple as repetitive rhythms or synthesizers. I think that's something.
So you're in the middle of a set, let's say, you do the Acid Eiffel track by Laurent Garnier. At that moment, in a party context, you know who you dedicate it to. What does that do to your mood, your emotion, your brain, whilst being in the middle of an entertainment setting? Does it get you out of the mood, or do you like switch, a professional switch to continue and go on with the party? Because during the track, your thoughts are with somebody who left you too early.
It's not thoughts, it's feeling. That's the difference. Actually, when I play a record like that, it dives me even deeper into what I'm doing. It connects me even stronger with the crowd because now I'm sharing the same experiences that they are. I'm having the same emotional reaction to something than the crowd is also. Not necessarily in the same context, not as somebody losing somebody, but you're investing yourself into being emotional, opening yourself. I had the experience recently, there's a beautiful club in Berlin that closed recently called Watergate. And I played a 9-hour set. I just couldn't stop playing. It was an amazing place and it meant a lot to me. I'd been playing there for 10 years. And a couple of times I had this dedication. I would play all the records that were big there, but the feeling also that playing records for people that were not there anymore, it created something really beautiful. I uploaded this set on the SoundCloud, of my SoundCloud, if you want to listen to it. But the last 2 hours are missing on purpose because the last 2 hours was only for us that were there. It was our moment. It was our letting go, our sorry, our funeral to a very, very special place. And I think it's so important and so precious to allow yourself this privacy at times that is not public, that is not streamed, that is not part of pop culture. It needs to be something that is intimate within people, something that you share with a select group of people. And that was the last time I had that precious moment. It was really something special.
So everything but those 2 hours on your SoundCloud?
Yes.
We go for that. We're talking about the emotional power of music. Thank you, everybody, for being here so numerous.
Yes, thank you.
When it comes to making music, how can one put emotions in music? I imagine you being at your computer with gear around you in the studio. Do you have a certain emotion you wish to translate into a tune? And you know it before you start making it? Or are you messing around and stumbling upon a sound, a melody that touches you and you take it from there? Can you talk us through a process or maybe different processes in how you put the emotions in your own music?
There are two ways of doing it, for me at least. One is the conceptual way where I'll define, select rules for a situation. For instance, with the album with my father, there was a whole idea of what I wanted to achieve with it and what I wanted to do with it. It was all about him very much. With my earlier albums, the first 3 albums I did was about my childhood, diving into childhood emotions, diving into things that mean something to you. That will very often, nearly automatically lead into you transmitting something as an artist. If you're referencing things, memories, feelings, it automatically is embedded within what you're doing. The other way of doing it, which I think is actually a really interesting way, is also just to experiment until you feel something, which sounds very weird. But at times, if you have the time for it, which is an incredible luxury in the studio, just do stuff until something resonates with you. And it could be something. For instance, I have an organ in my studio, which my auntie had in her house in Germany. And it's a terrible organ. It has no value as such, but it sounds crappy in the exact right way. It sounds crappy in a way that resonates with me. It means something to me. It touches my soul. And that organ is the most important instrument that I own, other than my dad's guitars, which I can't play because I don't play guitar, which I should learn. That's a retirement plan. I have to learn to play the guitar. But that organ, I don't know why, but it resonates with me. It's something with my childhood, something with my cultural heritage, something that just touches. And when it touches me, I know that it will be transmitted in whatever I do with it. I'm 100% convinced of this.
Almost at the end of this talk with Kölsch. We didn't plan it, but if somebody from the audience would have a question for Rune regarding the putting emotions into music, please stand up, raise your hand, and if you feel like asking the questions, we'll make it happen. Don't be shy.
No questions.
No questions. We have one there. Yes. What's your name?
My name is Benjamin.
Hello, Benjamin.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I wanted to ask you, how do you handle beat block?
Which one?
Beat block. I mean, I produce beats.
Yeah.
So that's how we call it. So like when you're uninspired.
Oh, okay. Writer's block.
Writer's block.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, same thing. That's actually a cool expression. I didn't know that one. I'll keep that one.
Beat block.
Beat block. So 2 ways, either step away or dive in. That's the only options you got. You can go harden and experiment and see what comes out. But I think what's most important if you have a terrible day in the studio is just to keep going and just not finish anything necessarily. Remember to save the different elements, because there will be one time in the future where you will go back and think, maybe that wasn't so bad after all. Maybe I can use this for something else. It's important to build up this library of mistakes or experiments, and then you can always go back and find something there. And if there's nothing, don't go. Watch a movie, find inspiration elsewhere. Go to a museum, go for a walk, talk to your friends, listen to a record. Anything goes. Just leave it until you can't step away. That's the whole trick. If you can't stop doing it, that's where you need to go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin. I believe we have time for one more question. Yes, sir?
Yes.
What's your name?
My name is Rob.
Hello, Rob. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm wondering. You said emotions can connect with people, but I was also wondering, how do you know when stuff hits when you see the crowd? How does it work?
You feel it. Emotions have a way of revealing themselves, and it's not necessarily a physical sign, the usual hands in the air. That is a different thing. But when something resonates within a close select people group, you'll know immediately. You know when you get the goosebumps?
Yeah.
In weird situations?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So it's beyond the regular stuff.
Always. Yeah. It's something that just comes and it goes away very quickly again.
Well, thank you so
But
much.
that's even more precious.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, everybody, for joining us
Thank
here
you so much.
for the first session. And Rune for opening up.
Thank you, guys.